Okay, today we're going to hear from the Visitor and Convention Bureau and what they're doing. It's Shauna Stewart, who's now in charge of that, and she's going to talk about the destination marketing as an engine for economic development and the organization's strategic priorities and some of the exciting, some might be exciting projects that are coming up this year. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Shauna. She's been practicing or teaching destination marketing for nearly a decade. She grew up in Olympia and went on to earn her bachelor's in business from Western Washington and her master's of public administration from the Evergreen State College. She's had her role as executive director of the Olympia Lacey Visitor and Convention Bureau for 5 months now, which has been a bit of a homecoming as she worked for the VCB in 2006 and 2008. So she's returned with a different position, of course, but so she's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on or what they're doing in the community. So come on up here now, Shauna. Let's welcome Shauna Stewart.
Laptop. Thank you all so much for having me here today. It's an absolute honor to be invited and to be here. And I'm so glad Josh shared his story, because I think that what he touched on is really the power of travel and just some of those stories and those moments that we have throughout our life that become part of our personal journeys and who we become and where we go after that. And so that's one of the big reasons why I'm passionate about travel and the travel industry. And the other reason why I really love what I get to do every day is because of the way that travel can impact our local communities and economy. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that later. But first of all, just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what we do at the Visitor and Convention Bureau. So a lot of tourism bureaus, visitor and convention bureaus, convention visitor bureaus, you name it, we all at our heart, regardless of what we're called, are destination marketing organizations. And destination marketing is really about selling and promoting all the amazing assets and the people in a particular destination and driving visitors and visitor spending into a community for economic development. So what we do is we work every day to inspire, inform, and influence leisure travelers, tour operators, and meeting and event planners to come to our destination to spend their money and then to leave. Maybe they'll come back later. We hope they do. And we're doing the inspiring, informing, and influencing along every step of their decision-making process. So when they're starting to dream and saying, hey, I need to get out of town, need a little weekend getaway, where should I go? To the planning, where they're actually thinking about, okay, what do I want to do specifically? What kind of activities is my family interested in? Am I interested in? And then booking, where they're going to stay, buying those tickets and so forth. And then experiencing, making sure that they're having an exceptional experience here in Thurston County so they want to come back time and time again. So our mission at the Visitor and Convention Bureau is to develop and market Thurston County as a year-round destination. And this is going to be something that is going to be evolving, our mission statement, in the next year or so. This mission statement was developed about 10 years ago. And our board had recently had a board leadership summit where we're reevaluating really the impact that we want to make in the community and how we want to get there. So stay tuned for updates on our mission statement and vision. Just a real quick at-a-glance summary of the travel impacts in Thurston County. I know 2014 seems like ages ago. We're getting 2015 numbers here any month or so. They typically come out in April. But through the work of destination marketing, we're really working to drive these numbers into our community. Destination spending, tax revenues for our local communities that support infrastructure, healthcare, education, and so forth, jobs and employment, tax receipts, And at the end of the day, we want those people and those person trips coming in. And the destination impacts that I just talked about are kind of what we've hung our hat on in terms of economic development for ages as destination marketing organizations. But there's been a lot of work happening at the national level in conjunction with Oxford Economics and so forth to really study and evaluate the impact that destination marketing is having on economic development in our communities. So beyond the benefits of visitor spending, tax revenues, and so forth, there's some very specific ways that we're helping to influence economic development in our communities in very meaningful ways, even above and beyond that. So one is raising destination profile. As we brand, as we market, as we tell the story of Thurston County to the world and bring more awareness to this part of the Northwest and part of the world, we help raise the destination profile, and that helps make our destination that much more attractive to businesses looking to invest in our community. Raising quality of life, I'm going a little bit backwards here, raising quality of life. The visitors and the money that they're bringing into our community really helps sustain a lot of the amenities that we as residents love to enjoy on a regular basis. Some of us love performing arts, some of us love farm fresh eggs, some of us love local wine, and all those businesses could not be sustained with residents alone. So we really rely on visitor spending dollars to come in and keep those amenities that we enjoy on a daily basis thriving, healthy, and continuing to support our local community. And then building transportation networks. Even though we feel a little bit far from the airport, this is still really relevant as we generate demand for particular destinations, our communities, and so forth. That helps improve airlift, making transportation to and from other states, countries, etc. much easier, which makes it the community much more attractive for business to invest. Similarly, and on a scope relative to Thurston County, some of you, well, let's see a raise of hands. Have you guys heard of the Thurston County Bountiful Byway? 1, 2, 3. Oh gosh. Okay, we have some work to do. So the Thurston County Regional, the Bountiful Byway. The Bountiful Byway is a tour along South County that really promotes agricultural businesses and agriculture farms and so forth along that scenic byway. And what's happening is that businesses are already, this was designated as a scenic byway a couple of years ago, and businesses without much marketing have already seen the impact, their numbers and revenues starting to increase because of that designation. We're driving, there's more demand, more driving. People are more excited to go on that part of, through that part of the county and on that road. And so we're going to be moving forward, really building out a robust and sustainable marketing plan to promote that, so you, the community, will know, as well as the visitors, to bring that spending through the area and to help develop and build out that infrastructure. As you drive the road, you'll see signs that say the Bountiful Byway, and we're helping to improve the wayfinding and so forth. And then finally, attracting strategic events. So this is a big place where we are partnering with the Economic Development Council as well as the economic development professionals and practitioners in our cities and in our county to align the work that we're doing in terms of attracting group businesses, conferences, meetings, etc. to the area to make sure we're getting the kind of people and the kind of influencers that our economic development professionals want to connect with and need to help grow our local economy. So for example, we are specifically focusing on, in 2016 and beyond, developing a hit list for groups related, hit list for groups related to beer, wine, and spirits. So aligning with the IPZ, with the EDC, it always sounds like a rap song to me, but the Innovation Promotion District around helping to develop craft beer and distilling and so forth in the county. And then agriculture and arts and culture. So bringing those influencers, again, it kind of ties into that raising destination profile, but attracting those types of groups so people are coming to our area, seeing the assets that we have to offer, and then putting them in the backyard, our backyard, so it's easy for our economic development professionals to connect with them, build those relationships, and further their conversations. So that's a little bit about destination marketing and economic development as a whole. I've been here about 5 months, and during the interview process, I actually had done a lot of research. I feel like I've been in this job a lot longer. And it also feels like just yesterday that I started. But during that time, I was really connecting with a number of community members and past tourism professionals and so forth that I've known over the years to kind of figure out, okay, if I was a successful candidate, thank goodness I was, what would I do and what could I bring to the table in terms of leading the Visitor and Convention Bureau forward and really taking it to the next level, which is what the board wanted to do. And so I identified 3 strategic priorities, which making good on promises, we've been working on ever since. And those are operational excellence, brand explosion, and strategic alliances. Operational excellence is really about doing the right things in the right way. So this isn't going to sound really exciting or sexy, but this is really about making sure that all of our policies, procedures, sales, marketing, communications initiatives are in line with international best practices. So we're working towards our Destination Marketing Association International Accreditation, DMAI for short. DMAI is kind of the Association of Destination Marketing Organizations. So they're really leading the world, and they are an international organization in research, education, networking, collaboration, and so forth. So making sure that every dollar invested in our organization is really being maximized by making sure that we're meeting those best practices. Excuse me. And then we're also going to be working on not only meeting best practices, but then next practices, looking at the future and identifying those opportunities, priorities, strategies, and tactics that will help move our destination forward in a rapidly changing world as consumer behavior continues to change by the second now, and making sure that we are really adding value in significant ways to our community. Then brand explosion is about telling a clear and compelling story to the world to really inspire, inform, influence people to come to our destination. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. And then finally, strategic alliances. So building mutually beneficial relationships throughout our community and beyond, making sure that we're crossing over borders, not just focusing on our friends and partners in tourism, but those that are related to economic development, business growth, and so forth. And also knowing that we are stronger together. So looking at our partners around the state and partnering with our other destination marketing organizations to really make an impact on a national and international level. One of the ways we do this most practically and most often is partnering with the Port of Seattle and Visit Seattle on a number of international sales missions and familiarization tours, or FAM tours for short. We love making up abbreviations and making up words like leisure. Have you heard of leisure travel? Business leisure, yeah. So the FAM tours, we work to bring those influencers, tour operators, media people into our community to give them a first-hand experience of our destination so they can build our product into theirs and sell it on our behalf or write about us to inspire us. It's been so neat to see the kind of international recognition we're getting as a result of those FAM tours that we wouldn't have if we didn't have those relationships with our friends in Seattle. And Seattle recognizes that they're not going to be able to sell their city without us as partners, because when international visitors are coming in, they're spending an average of 12 days per trip. And love our friends in Seattle, you can't spend 12 days there. So they want to get around to Mount Rainier, Olympic National Park, and so forth. And interestingly, the Port of Seattle recently did a survey, and I don't know that it's published yet, so I'm looking at the camera. But they were surveying visitors coming in to the cruise terminals and those who were doing pre and post tours before and after their trips. and asking what were you doing before or what are you planning to doing after this trip. And the three biggest interests were Mount Rainier, Olympic Peninsula, and Kurt Cobain. So it's a really great, we have almost an embarrassment of riches here in the Pacific Northwest, and then in Thurston County we're just ideally located to really capture those visitors and make sure that they're coming to Thurston County and spending some time exploring what we have to offer. So real quick on our budget, not the most exciting thing, but just in case you're interested, our income primarily comes from TPA, which is Tourism Promotion Assessment. How many have heard of that? Okay, perfect. Better hands. Bountiful Byway still has some work to do though. So this is an assessment, not a tax, that the hotels collect, and it goes through the county and into our budget. And this was a really big game changer for our organization. When I was here about 9 years ago, our budget was about 275 to 325 based on how you looked at it. And there just wasn't a lot we could do with that amount of money in terms of making real marketing impact and driving those revenues. A couple years ago, the hotels got together and then petitioned to self-assess themselves this assessment, and that has really helped us play at a different level in terms of marketing. We're also funded through lodging tax from Olympia Lacey Tumwater, and then membership and private revenues through sponsorship events and so forth. You'll see over in expenses, destination marketing is about marketing, and so that is where the majority of our dollars are being spent in marketing and communications, followed by sales, but this is a little bit of a misnomer because sales is so relational and person-oriented, and this number doesn't include staff. And then community relations, operations, interestingly, we have 5.5 team members, and our personnel and administrative costs are about 2% under industry standard, and then finally the administration for the TPA dollars. Our budget, as we were drafting it for 2016, is focused on our mission. So at the end of the day, our decisions are made on what it is we're hoping to achieve, results-based, align with DMAI, so Destination Marketing Association International, so we can look at our budget and use performance indexes and evaluating that against other DMOs. And then it's also in line with our business plan, so you can have a very clear picture of where our dollars are being spent, how they're being spent, and kind of the method to our madness. Our business plan is available online at visitolympia.com in our About Us section, or I think it's our team section. It's a mere 25 pages. I recommend a glass of wine, maybe getting in the hot tub. But it really gives you the full overview that I'm just not able to give today. One thing I want folks to know in our community is while our budget went from about $300,000 to $1 million, as you look around the competition, we're still on the low end. So what that means is that we have to be so smart and so strategic with every dollar that we're spending, and making sure that it's really focused on driving visitors to the destination. So marketing the destination first, and then connecting those visitors with local businesses and events. Our goals, I'm not going to go through all of them, but we're evaluating marketing and communications, group sales, and visitors, and these are the goals that we've published to our stakeholders, to our members, and so forth. What you don't see is a ridiculous Excel sheet behind it that measures so many performance measures and indicators that we can watch and monitor on a regular basis to make sure that we're doing the right things in the right way. And then, of course, reporting out on a regular basis to those who are interested. So one of the most exciting projects, and I touched on this earlier a little bit with Brand Explosion as our strategic priority, is our destination rebranding and identity project. So the last time our organization really invested in a comprehensive branding project was about a decade ago. Well, a lot's changed. A lot's changed since I've been gone. It's been really neat to see all the different assets coming online, how people have changed, what just how our product overall has evolved. And so what worked for us at about 10 years ago and what's been has evolved here and there over the last decade, really it's time to take a really deep look at what our brand is, what do we want to be known for, and how do we want to differentiate ourselves from our competitors. So in February, we kicked off this branding process, and in a few weeks, we're going to be launching an online survey. I'm going to pause there and go back real quick. Just about the importance of a destination brand. DMAI, so again, that's our international association, part of the research that they've done in terms of figuring out what really works and what really drives visitor spending and economic impact. Branding and effective destination branding is ranked among the top success factors for that. You can't do good marketing without a really good brand. And so that's what we're hoping to achieve in this process. We're partnering with J-Ray Communications out of Tacoma on this process, and we're really looking forward to working with them. I actually just took one of our J-Ray members and added her to our team, however. We have a really good synergy there. Several people on their team have worked in destination marketing. They've done a number of branding projects for cities and communities around the state. We have a 5-step process that started in February and hopefully will end in July. But as you know, with processes, sometimes they can get slowed down just to make sure that we're doing the right things in the right way. So the first phase is destination discovery. So going back to that online survey that you'll probably be seeing here in the next couple weeks. We want to survey our community, survey our visitors. We're going to be doing focus groups, interviews, and the J-Ray team is actually going to play tourists for a day. And they are all being given a stipend from J-Ray to come down and experience our destination firsthand so they can really get a sense and feel for what we have to offer. And then we're going to move into the assessment and analysis phase, where we're going to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, so your standard SWOT analysis and doing a competitive analysis. Then we'll help create they will help us create a brand platform to help articulate the brand, promise, and personality, and then creating a visual identity, developing a brand strategy, how do we implement that, and then of course implementation. We can do all this work, and if we fail on the implementation phase, we've just lost a lot of time and money. So it's really important that we do that right, and they're going to help set us up for success there. Am I close on time? I tend to be a little more past.
Maybe if you wrap it up and allow some time for questions,
okay.
would be good.
So I think that's as far as I'm going to go, because otherwise I'll go down another tangent. But this is the big exciting thing that's really going to have huge impact, I think, on the effectiveness of our marketing and overall ability to drive visitor spending and economic development in our community. So are there any questions?
How much of an influence in bringing people in is the fact that we have the state capital in our community?
There are a number of people who love to travel for state capitals, and we see a lot of those visitors in our visitor center. So it's one of our most visited attractions in Thurston County. So it's a big thing. I think that part of what we need to do, and part of what I'm hoping to do in the branding process, is helping to tell people what else we have to offer in Thurston County and giving them more reasons to come back and come back again.
Questions?
Yep.
Are you exploring any new draws
Can
to
you?
bring people in?
Well, I think that that's part of what the branding process is, and then we're doing some product development work around biking, the Bountiful Byway, beer, wine, spirits, coffee. I think I'm missing something else, but helping to package together some of the products and amenities we have in the area to be able to promote and attract new folks.
How big of a challenge is the downtown Olympia situation? And the safety concerns, the overall maybe unpleasantness of that experience?
So I think, what was I comparing this to? I just bought a house in November. October I bought it, in November I moved in. And I walk in, I tour my friends around, and they love it. and they can't stop talking about how cute it is, and you know, the paint colors are great, and all I see is what I want to fix. And I think that that's largely how the downtown Olympia is for our community. We as residents have issue with it because we're closest to it in terms of it's our home. We see the potential, and we see how we want to make it better and improve it and so forth. And I know that there's been so much work around planning and developing and making that become what it could be. But our visitors don't necessarily see it as much as we do, and it all depends on perspective. So where people are coming from. Those who come from Sumner might see it differently than those who come from Portland. So, thank you.
Shauna. Round of applause for Shauna.
Thank you very much. Great presentation, and obviously